Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command World War II, World at War. It is April 25th of 1941 in our Allied Let's Play. England remains standing against the Axis powers. France has fallen, per history. And we're about to bear the brunt of a counterattack by the Afrika Korps. We have successfully cut off the German armored anti-tank and infantry units here to the north, while in the south, the headquarters unit under Rommel, a reconnaissance unit, and some Italian garrison infantry are all surrounded. The hope is that these naval assets here will reduce the supplying Benghazi and make these units ineffective. In any event, they will probably counterattack south and destroy this British Corps, or at least cut it off. But it may buy time for additional reserves and reinforcements to come in, which are in the process of coming in. Some Free French troops and some South African troops coming in from other theaters. That's the situation in North Africa. The European front is largely stagnant. Not much is going on. The Russian front is starting to take shape, although we're hoping that the Germans delay their attack on the Soviets at least one more turn, as we don't quite have our front line filled out for the Soviets, and we haven't quite upgraded anywhere near most of our troops yet. So the hope is that the Germans won't attack quite yet. And the main I guess, impetus for that hope is the fact that the Greek front remains and the Italians have not conquered Greece. The Germans do have one unit that looks like it may be about to move on Greece, and my hope is they don't attack the Soviets till they eliminate the threat of Greece from their flank. Additionally, the Chinese front is going reasonably well. We have a couple of units that are battered out here near Chengchao, and frankly, they may be destroyed in the next few turns. And the Japanese have started making inroads in the north near Paotao. But we have built a new fortification line here in central China, south of Chengchao, and we've had quite a bit of success in southern China as well, retaking Canton, retaking the entirety of Haikou and Pakoi. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. With that being said, that is sort of the net of the current situation. So with that being said, let's jump forward and see what happens in May of 41 if the Germans invade the Soviet Union or not. Germany celebrates the conquest of Yugoslavia. Mussolini faces humiliation as Allied forces enter Albania. Or was it Albania or Abyssinia? I think it was Albania. Malta hinders Axis supply in the Mediterranean. Suez Canal limits Italian shipping in Abyssinia for the handful of garrison troops that remain. Axis raiders are disrupting our convoys to Canada. Ethiopia is liberated as Haile Selassie returns to Addis Ababa. U.S. develops infantry weapons level 2, making development in advanced tanks as well as naval weaponry. Armored warfare development is also complete, I guess. And the Soviet Union reports progress in spying and intelligence development. That's good, so they're up to 100% there. USSR develops spying technology level 1. That should be useful for us. And we'll have to see what comes of it. I didn't see an immediate German declaration of war on the Soviets. I would assume, I think, most of the turns where the Axis powers do that, it happens kind of immediately. So my hope is that they don't do it quite yet. Meanwhile, it looks like they're pulling the Afrika Korps back out of danger. It was being directly attacked by our desert units, and they are withdrawing it away from the front line, which is to be expected, but doesn't do anything to relieve the siege on their units at Benghazi. Japanese aircraft carriers have moved to the south, perhaps to counter our invasion of Japanese-held territories there. And taking of Hainan Island is also a pretty big deal, because I believe Japan had that at the start of the war historically. Meanwhile, some strategic bombers flying out of Korea are bombing Chengchao here in central China, and some focus on the Chengchao front, as well as the units in that vicinity. Yep, looks like Chengchao just fell. At the very least, they destroyed the army that was located in that city. Wide-scale Japanese attacks against our new defensive lines are not having very much success in central southern China. And the South African Corps there is destroyed. The British First Corps is not cut off quite yet. We'll see if they move to cut us off. Be interesting if they don't, because if they don't, then they'll still be isolated in Benghazi. I know theoretically they can pull supply through the port of Benghazi. Oh, there they do. They move. Their recon unit just moved there. I know theoretically they can pull supply through the port of Benghazi, but with warships on each side, the port is already level 3. It's reduced to level 2 due to our warships in the vicinity. So it will not be a very effective avenue of supply for them. You can see they're making some border adjustments with Yugoslavia. The state of Croatia is being formed, joining the side of the Axis. Croatian garrison is deploying in Zagreb. Hitler's deputy Rudolf Hess flies to the UK to negotiate peace terms, except no, he's killed. Joe DiMaggio begins his famous historic hitting streak in the United States. Nice little bit of flavor text that has nothing to do with the game. And we're on to our turn. So the Soviets were not attacked quite yet, which is good news for us. The Germans have also deployed at least some of their troops to the Greek campaign. They certainly don't need... I mean, they could invade Russia with 2 corps or whatever to the south, but... I mean, I'm happy if they don't. We've got a new infantry corps, which is arriving here. We're placing it just to the west of Vitebsk. Meanwhile, India is receiving a new Indian corps. We're going to be at war. It's kind of a debate on whether we want to put these guys... Actually, let's wait to do this. Let's move this garrison out of Karachi, and then let's deploy the new units in Karachi. Then we can load them up on transports and send them immediately to the desert. Meanwhile, we've got the South African 1st Corps, which will arrive at Alexandria and unload. And then we've got the Free French Corps. I don't think we can use Benghazi as a port just quite yet. I could be wrong. I guess we'll see. I'm going to try and put... Oh, wait, this is Smut's headquarters for South African troops. We'll try and put the Free French Corps under Leclerc. It can. All right, so it immediately unloads in Tobruk to the front line. And we'll have the South African Corps go to the rear at Alexandria. We'll wait. We'll move these troops forward. And then we'll... Oh, I can't unload them. Damn it. All right. Meanwhile, these guys are cut off from supply. The German tanks actually have basically no supply. I'm curious what their anti-tank guns have. Same for the recon unit for what it's worth. Okay, so we'll attack there with our Special Forces troops. Our Free French troops can advance and attack these anti-tank guns, which also have no supply. So we'll see if we can... We can only attack them once, because we don't have the armored doctrine quite yet. But in theory, we still have these guys surrounded, so they'll probably move this garrison out of El Agheila next turn and resolve that, but they won't have any ports back toward Tripoli, so I don't think they're going to be in great shape for a little bit still. I wonder if we can... Can we do any damage to their headquarter unit? No? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, we'll strafe here. Not going to do any real damage, but hey, whatever. Guess we'll attack these guys here. Eh. Alright, so we drove back their recon car. Alright, so we just shifted troops around a little bit. Moving our armor. Our armor is weaker than theirs in a technical standpoint, but we have one more hit point and we have more supply than them. So that's good, I guess. Okay. So that'll do North Africa. Meanwhile, the Egyptian front, we're going to pull back. A little bit. So we're going to form a new defensive line just north of Athens. Hopefully we'll suck some German troops down here. Italian morale was penalized due to the fact that they had Albania invaded. I don't know how we don't have any supply. Shouldn't our headquarters unit provide that? I'll move them forward here. Hopefully we can get the supply we need next turn. I really want to reduce these Italian forces, but I don't have any supply to do it with, and I don't have any nearby ports. My hope is that the mere presence of the headquarters unit gives us some supply, but so far nothing. Let's reinforce these aircraft here. Reinforce the ship. I think the most we can build it up to in these ports far away from home is 8. We'll bombard these these tanks. Main focus has to be on reducing the enemy morale. Also go and see if we can reduce the port of Tripoli, because if we can blockade the port of Tripoli, then they may have no avenue of supply into the Mediterranean. They don't have any convoys by the looks of it that I can attack. They do have a sub in port. Okay. Not a lot to do for our ships back in British waters. We're not really actively fighting the Battle of the Atlantic at the moment. We're not really losing much in the way of shipping in the Atlantic. Move these battleships into various ports to get them built back up and ready for action here. Oops, there's no port there. Okay. Reinforce these fighters, I suppose. Get them to max strength. Upgrade these Canadian troops to infantry weapon, level 1 mobility, blah, blah, blah. Spend a little bit of money doing that. I think that's all there. We'll go ahead and reinforce these bombers. We still have 148 research points for the British, or points, not research points. I think we've already invested, well, we're almost to infantry weapons level 2. Advanced tanks, I don't have the money to develop anything there. Artillery, we could research. Armored warfare, we should research, so we'll do that. We need those 2 attacks that you get with armored warfare perks. Alright, we just reconned the entire area in the Adriatic and saw no enemy ships in port. Can we upgrade these guys? We can upgrade the heavy cruiser navy weapon level 1 AAA. It's a little bit of money that we had left. Probably should have saved something for, I don't know, maybe transporting someone or something. I don't know. In any event, we didn't save any money for the British, so that'll do it for the British turn. Some of you have suggested pulling some of these garrisons out so that we can bring them back here in the event that the Japanese are going to get some troops in Indochina. I'm pulling out a Haikidao just because I'm assuming the Japanese aren't going to do an amphibious landing there, but that may be a bad assumption. Okay, we'll attack this garrison unit. Alright, not doing anything down there. They didn't actually take Changchao, they just destroyed the unit that was there. Question is, do I want to put a new unit there? Is it worth it? It's kind of in a iffy spot. What about down here? These Japanese troops do look a little bit vulnerable to attack. So we'll go ahead and attack this army here. Nice. Nice! We destroyed another Japanese army here in central South China. A very good result for us. We'll reinforce this army. these guys as well. So yet another Japanese army is destroyed. Meanwhile, these guys will build up back to full strength. I just need to figure out, like, I don't know. I would cut these guys off, but it would probably get this core destroyed, right? What's their supply like? It's not great. We can attack these guys pretty effectively with the 41st Army, so we'll do that. Then I think we'll swap these special forces in. They'll do a good job here, 2-to-1. Nice. So that guy... Alright, so we'll move these guys here. Then I think we'll move this corps forward. This army's already attacked. Alright, so... let's spend some reinforcements. Almost all the rest of our money reinforcing these guys up here. These guys are already fortifying, right? They are. These guys already attacked. So I got a little bit more aggressive than honestly I would have liked. I did drive back and nearly destroyed a Japanese army over here. We destroyed another army to the south. We reinforced this corps, and we retook or we reoccupied Chengchao with military forces. Meanwhile, in the north, these Japanese troops have a good amount of supply, so we'll reinforce here. And then this corps is going to get what reinforcements we have left. So I think that does it for China. More success in the south. Not really the south, I guess more success in the center of the line. And, yeah. Alright, so that does it for the Chinese front. If we take a look back west, we've already really looked at the British. The Indians actually have quite a bit of money to spend. The Russians, meanwhile, are probably the next target. Let's make sure these guys are all upgraded. We need some anti-aircraft, really. What's our research look like there for the anti-aircraft for the Russians? Yeah, I'm actually going to spend a little bit of research, a little bit of money researching anti-aircraft fire for the Russians. I probably should have done that a while ago. Looks like I have enough points left over to upgrade 3 corps to infantry weapons level 1. We'll do the 2 up here. The other corps at Riga already is upgraded. And we'll do 1 more corps down here in the south. Alright, so the first 6 units in the south, as far north as Dnipropetrovsk, are all upgraded to level 1s. And then as far as Daugavpils is upgraded to level 1. The Americans have 239 points. They can spend a bunch in research as well. They're already maxed out on spying. Logistics are probably something they want to research, as well as production technology. So again, most of our American income is going into research. We're going to have the most teched up army with no troops. Meanwhile, the Indians have 311 points to spend. So we could buy an army for that with infantry weapons. We also could go with a paratrooper unit, long-range aircraft, and infantry weapons. Let's do that. Let's purchase a paratrooper unit. The Indians have troops coming in January of 42, June of 42, October 42, so they've got some units on the way. The Chinese have 2 armies coming in June of 41, so actually next turn we're going to get 2 new Chinese armies. That'll be nice. The Soviets have some stuff coming in July of 41. They've got a corps coming in July. They've got an army coming in September, another one coming in December, paratroopers coming in December, tanks coming in October and November. 41, as well as some more fighters in 41. Those will all be appreciated. The Americans have some naval assets coming, some historical laid-down naval assets like the Essex and other things like that. The British have some Australian stuff coming online. The British have an army arriving next month as well. And then the Canadian army starts to ramp up as well later this year. So we're going to be getting a bunch more units soon, probably to help counter the large number of enemy attacks, which we expect to be coming around in the not-too-distant future. I think we already moved around our destroyers, which are blockading Tripoli. So I think that probably does it for this turn. And this episode. And we'll see if in June the Axis decide to begin the invasion of Russia, or if they wait for the reduction of Greece itself. We've got a defensive line in Greece. It's not very strong. If the Germans dedicate aircraft to it, it will break very quickly. But for the moment anyway, there's 2 Greek armies and a Greek corps, all under strength, guarding the peninsula there. And then we've got a British garrison unit in reserve, as well as a Greek headquarters unit nearby. Again, everything is under strength, but it in paper it looks formidable. The Africa Corps at least delayed, and at the moment not yet destroying of the British unit there. The Africa Corps itself is also horribly under strength, which is historically accurate, so that's good for us. And we're seeing how much we can hurt its effectiveness by blockading all the ports and harbors around. We're also hoping that here very soon, in the next few days, we can eliminate the last remnants of the Italian forces in East Africa and ship 2 corps and an army to the desert as well to aid in the struggle against Rommel. But that'll all be for next time. We'll see how things develop in our next episode. Until next time, this is the Historical Gamer, as always, saying thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out.